Here.
Young?
Here.
Covert?
Here.
Need a motion to perfect and approve the agenda.
So moved. Support.
Motion with support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. I'm going to open the public hearing on the proposed city budget for the fiscal year of 25-26. Have we had any written comments?
None.
Any comments from council? Do you want to do the presentation now?
Sure. We have 58 slides to go through. But I'm not going to go through all of them.
To stop this.
There is a lot of good information in there. I encourage you to look at the supplemental and historical information, but we'd like to include that. There's a lot of good data in there. And I'm not going to read all these word for word, but so the budget does tackle a number of challenges, including the property tax issues that we've been dealing with the past few years, maintain service levels, and we have a strong general fund balance at the end of the year. Changes to the budget, levy rate is at 1010, remains the same. We have proposed sewer rate and water rate increases, sewer at 5% and water at 3.6% that we've been discussing, the methodology or the for doing that. We're bringing that forward next council meeting. A couple of interesting things. We do have the sewer camera in there. We have lining of the two sewer sections to extend the useful life, prevent I&I and other problems. We're anxious to kind of see how that works, and it could be a cheaper solution for us in some of our older clay sewers going forward. IT adjustments were made, and we did include the employee appreciation piece for next year as well. Next page, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt, but I think I probably should close the public hearing, and we'll
Sure,
bring this
go
up
ahead.
under the new business. So I'm going to close the public hearing since there were no other comments from the public or written. Just follow protocol. I don't look good in orange.
On this page, we've got, just to give you an idea of the tax rate history, the community for the past many years, back to 2010-11 fiscal year. General fund balances on the next page. So last year, we ended with 22% in our budget. This year, we're at 20.9%. Slight difference in the general fund. Do have a $200,000 one-time transfer for water main projects in 25-26, and a one-time transfer for undesignated capital project fund. Having a strong general fund balance is, of course, important, and to address emergencies or changes in revenue or reductions in revenue should they occur going forward. Fund balance comparison is on the next slide. I just want to point out again, and pointed out last week as well, but road use, water and sewer specifically, part of the reason that we're looking at doing adjustments as well, but those funds we're going to have to keep an eye on, and I'll talk a little bit more about the budget here in a moment, but capital equipment and capital projects become more challenging with those fund balances at those levels. Property valuations on the next page just gives you a little history for the past 5 years, including taxable valuations, and it shows what happened with each class of property. Residential rollback went from 46 to 47%. Residential valuations increased a little over $3 million. Commercial property remained at 90%. Valuations decreased by $774,000 and change. Industrial decreased by $252,000 and change for next fiscal year. On the next page, you'll see compare the 100% in taxable valuation comparison. And again, it's a little bit hard to compare the past few years. We may be able to make that adjustment now that we should be able to get the taxes cleared up from the past couple of years with the hospital lawsuit. But you will note that there was a simple 1.21% increase in taxable valuations for the coming year. Not much to work with. The hardest part was dealing with the $200 million valuation that the hospital had, rather than their original, I want to say $40 million valuation from a few years ago, which was dropped down to $6 million and change. So that we had to adjust for each budget year, and it has factored into tax increment financing as well. So something to keep an eye on. Those impacts from that lawsuit are on the next page, just to give you an idea of the changes in taxable values from 21 to 24, and the reduction in taxable valuation that we saw. Levies on the next page just gives you an idea for the past 3 years where the breakdown in the levy is to reach that $10.10. We are back up to $8.10 this year. Last year's changes took us down to $7.94. We made adjustments in employee benefits specifically. But it evens out at the end of the day to $10.10 carried forward from last year. Budget challenges, again, just to note and highlight, backfill has been decreasing each year, and we'll go to 0 in 2030. We saw a $14,000 reduction from 25 to 26. These are your rollback numbers for 25 and 26, just to give you an idea of the changes that we saw and mentioned a moment ago. And that's partly why the residential was up. It went from 46 to 47%. Issues and challenges continues on the next page. Just to note the CPI numbers, we have multiple there. U.S., Midwest, and Municipal Cost Index are all noted on the next page, as well, again, as the rollback for the different, for residential and multi-res. Continuing with those issues and challenges, we did see a minimal increase of 1.09% in the residential rollback, although the prior year we saw a decrease of over 8%. Impacted next year with the decrease in valuation, of course, that I've already mentioned, and so that'll be something that will be factored in over the next few years. But building permits have been flying out the door, so hopefully we're seeing some increased activity to make up for some of those changes. Of course, we saw the elimination of multi-res property that used to be taxed at 90%, the rollback. It's now down to the residential rate. And business property tax reduction in the backfill, CPI, and of course balancing CIP needs, timing, and funding sources. A few other key items. We're continuing the capital equipment program. There is a bit less in the budget this year, as you may recall. Reminder, IT budget, we've been transitioning everything other than squad cars to that budget. 4% cost of living is included. TIF admin fees are continuing to be utilized to offset or support the general fund. Health insurance, we saw a 0% increase in our costs, 2.5% increase in the employee share. Property liability insurance did increase at 26.2%. And with that, don't forget, we do still have work comp numbers that we're hoping to offset that increase as well. Rate adjustments, pool rates as listed are the ones that were adopted by council. Garbage has a 3% increase per contract with Levine's. Recycling rates went up 10 cents from solid waste. Water rates, again, 3.6, sewer rates 5%. We'll be bringing those actual rate structures back to council for consideration. Those property tax examples are on the next page, just to give you an idea. I'm just going to use 200,000. Last year, we're paying $936, next year, $958, but if you look over the past 5 years, they have a significant reduction in taxes overall. Same thing with commercial at a $200,000 value. There's a $20 increase, but a significant decrease over the last 5 years. So the fiscal year 25-26 budget is a balanced budget. Capital projects included, force main design, agency and Broadway street trails design, seal coating and HMA crack filling, water main replacement, sewer slip lining, and of course, there are some items that would come back based on amendments and grant funding. Stormwater, as I noted last week, sanitary, sewer, the trailhead, for example. So it has been challenging to maintain existing service levels, but as you know, we have done that. But it is becoming, or it is, we're going to be hard pressed to maintain capital equipment needs going forward at this rate. Capital projects as well, but we do have the ability to use that GEO-TIP bond that's going off in 27, bringing that forward for 2026 issuance, with the first year being interest only, which is what was done last time as well. So we'll need to narrow those down, but I'll be including everything in the urban renewal plan so that we have flexibility. Supplemental information, and this is where I'm going to really kind of skip through things. There's a lot of good information in here. Water rates are included on this page. Sewer rates are noted on there. Now, those, again, are going to be adjusted if council chooses to go another direction with the methodology for sewer and water rates. Franchise fee, I haven't updated those numbers. I'm waiting to get those updated numbers from Alliant following their corrections that they've been making. But just for historical information, those were the original revenues. Projects again listed on this page. We do have the Mall Ring Road initial repair in there, with something like a hot mix or an inch or so or two of asphalt on that first quarter section of street until we can get a long-term fix in place, which would be substantially more cost. And then there's a number of, this is that, supplemental information, historical information. So there's a lot of good data in here, and I'm not going to go through each of these pages. I am going to go through a couple select ones. Tax rate comparison, just to give you an idea of where we stand in Iowa amongst populations of 2,500 to 3,500, and average tax rate in contrast to West Burlington's tax rate as well. Just informational purposes, give you an idea, and our public an idea where we stand amongst a number of other cities in the state. Local levy rate comparison is on this page. Historical value, 100% valuation chart is included. Taxable valuations, historical, are included here as well. And then by class, the rollback is included to give you a historical perspective as well. Property taxes. This page is interesting. It shows you from a residential perspective the changes or increases, the yearly difference from 17-18 up to 25-26. $13 increase, $13 decrease, $13 increase, $18 decrease, $7 decrease. Just it's kind of an interesting slide that Angie put together. Same thing for commercial property taxes on the next page, giving an idea of the yearly differences in taxes. Tax rate history is included as well, countywide. you have questions on any of these, stop me, but these are the ones I'm not going to go through in any real detail, other than a couple of them. Levy rates, different perspective. General fund. And we have short summaries for each of the funds here going forward. So fiscal year 25-26 general fund revenues budgeted a little over $3.4 million. Expenses at 3.46. Revenues exceed expenditures, which is a good thing. General fund balance of 20.9%. Tax increment financing, just to give you an idea of what's outstanding. Road use tax fund is next, and gives you some history here as well. We do use road use tax for capital outlay and major equipment for a large part of those budgets. Road use tax revenues are included as well. Over in that history, we've gone 451, up slightly from last year. Local option sales tax is next, and that revenue history is included for your information as well. Slight deduct this past year, or not deduct, but reduction over last year. Hopefully that increases this year. And local option sales tax expenditures, to give you an idea of where those expenditures are allocated: police and fire, debt service, internal loans, capital projects, road use, ambulance, etc. Gives you an idea of how those funds are being used.
Greg, is it a safe assumption to say the local option sales tax revenue from 23-24 to 24-25, that reduction of about 43,000? Can we attribute that to local, the franchise fee, going in
No,
place
not
there
yet.
before we lost the local option sales tax revenue from Alliant? Or
Not at that point, no. That would have ended June 30, 2025, so, and we started after June 2025.
Well, we started in August of 2024. The franchise fee kicked in August 2024. So we should have most of our this current fiscal year should
25.
experience
Yes.
the loss of that.
Yes. You are correct. I was a year off. But what I am waiting to see is how the franchise fee will be adjusted as well. So
Yeah, we
then
should-
hopefully this will trend up, especially with some of the work that we're seeing around town.
Well, I mean, we should see
Yes.
a greater return on our residents' spend with the franchise fee, because
Absolutely.
we get it all, not,
Right.
we don't share it with the county.
Remember off the top of your head how much we've received so far,
For,
franchise?
I think it's like 100, and give me just 1 second and I'll tell you. Just 1 second.
Thank you.
While she's looking for that information, we do go by and Angie's broken revenues by source, tax revenue breakdown for those.
$110,073.41 so far.
And that's through March?
We get paid quarterly,
January, February, March is a quarter.
and so I've got third quarter and fourth quarter, but I haven't got first quarter yet.
So, yeah, we should more than double that then. Because August is wasn't a whole month, okay. Yeah, we'll more than offset that.
Greg, do you know what the tax on gallons of gas is now? I mean, I see what, the
I'd have to look up the road use amount, but it went up. Was it last year or the year before the rate went up?
It was 30 cents or 40 cents a while back. I mean, years.
And then that's
ago.
also based on a population
Yeah.
as well for distribution. Angie's included a slide in here, expenditures by function, just to give you an idea of where those expenditures are coming for, where your largest expenditures are. in the city. So it gives you a good idea of where that breakdown follows. This is by function, but not by budget, just to be clear. Those are the functions. Our budgets need to stay within those functions included in there. So the general fund, for example, general government will have multiple funds underneath it. Hotel motel taxes. Again, 51% of this revenue is allocated to the city, 49% goes to the CVB. Estimated year-end fund balance of 78,000 and change. Hotel motel tax history is included as well. Slight decrease from the prior year, but same as 21 and 22. There was that recent hotel study done, so hopefully that they'll be successful attracting a new hotel to the area. Capital projects and equipment. This just gives you an idea of what's included. Sidewalks, 35,000 and on down. Repairs for the fire department. Tahoe for the police department. HMA crack fill. IT department. The Microsoft server updates. Playground repairs and slides. Street department. Backhoe. Traffic signal camera replacement. Water department backhoe portion of it, water main repair, another 200, that's the project next to Pat Klein Park. Sewer department, the backhoe as well, that's not a third backhoe, that's broken down by department. Stormwater project, force main project, Mall Ring Road is included in there with a placeholder number. And the Mount Pleasant Street Phase 3 and 4 final design is included, as well as agency street trail placeholder. These are your capital projects. These are simply the transfers to help pay for those capital projects that are listed there. Debt, outstanding debt that we have is listed on the left-hand side. Amount of the issuance and our annual payment. In a nutshell, we just wanted to thank staff and council for everybody's hard work, time and effort that was put into the budget. I think we had a good number of good sessions and discussions this year, which I appreciate. And let's hope things don't change too drastically.
Can you go back to
Legislative session. Yes.
Can you go back to the expenditures by function for a moment? I'm having a problem with the color,
Me too.
and so I'm sorry.
Oh.
Is it like public safety one, is that the, I'm sorry, I just
You're
can't.
fine, you're fine.
Public safety's at 1.7 million, 1,755,000.
Yeah, this, is it going to the right then, clockwise then, also with the color, or?
Hang on.
I can
Got it.
zoom in on the color.
I got a bigger.
Which shade of fall is it?
Page
Yeah.
25.
Listen, I
Can we draw a line
tried to
to it?
reconstruct, but somebody on it.
Funny part is on here, I can see the difference in the shades of the color.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
on it-
the $2.5 million at 26% is the, looks like it's the sewer. The public safety is the,
1.75.
1.75.
Okay.
And then, the water is the 1.9.
Thank you.
Next year, I'm gonna use different colors, whether,
Just draw a line from it to it,
I mean, I could do
or
that.
put the number, or put the name right next to it.
Just label it, yeah.
I thought it was, but I wasn't too sure, because my eyes just,
And you didn't think culture and recreation was a quarter of the budget? That's the color I went with first. Just didn't jive.
So which one was Public Works?
1.1 million.
Thank you.
I just numbered them. so.
I went relatively quick through those slides, but happy to go back. Are there any other questions that you'd like to revisit?
I appreciate the comparison to the other communities. That's just helpful to see how kind of we stack up, so thanks a lot, Angie, for bringing that up again. And secondly, I also appreciate, showing what the city taxes are, and then each of the other cities with the school districts added and the counties. So again, it just helps me understand how we stack up to our neighbors.
Yes, I appreciate you dumbing it down for, so you can look at it and read it.
There is a lot of information in there, and a lot of details, and if there's ever anything that you'd like to go through in more detail, we're happy to do that.
It'll be available on the website, right?
The entire budget will be available on the website by department, so there'll be a digital copy of that. If you'd like a paper copy, let Angie know. I think she's already talked to some of you about that, not all of you, but if you want a paper copy, she'll put one out there. But yes, we will be placing a digital copy out there as well, and that'll be the entire budget book that'll be on the website.
Greg, I think the only thing you didn't mention in here that I think is important for the public to know is also kind of the spot raise to the police department that we also worked into the budget.
Correct, and that was this fiscal year as well. And you'll see that in the amendment that will be brought forward at next week's meeting. Is that when you're doing it?
The 7th.
7th.
Yeah, that's
On May
the
7th.
public hearing, yeah.
That'll be factored into the amendment when we bring that forward.
I think a lot of those conversations happened at work sessions, so I'm not sure we ever spent
Right.
much time on them on public open meetings where people
Other than
were watching.
the actual resolution that you adopted, the wage resolution was adopted at a public meeting,
Yeah.
yes.
I want to make sure people know that as they look at this, that, we're having issues.
Public safety, we're down 2, Burlington is down 9.
Yeah.
They're losing one the school system is in Burlington is losing one SRO. I'd sure love to see that program here as well. We met this week, Chad, myself, Rob, and Jason, just to talk about public safety, SROs, funding that is available, options. We're going to meet again next month, and then we'll probably set up some formal quarterly meetings as well, just to get together and talk about various issues and topics. But we want to keep those discussions forward and see what solutions we can find in the interim, whether it be retired officers, for example, that may be able to fill those roles in the schools that they have public safety funding for. Those public safety dollars you asked me about were for the schools, not for the cities, that Rinker brought up at the Friday Forum. But there are safety dollars available to the school. And
The school only, not the city.
Right, yes.
Darn it, cities.
I think that's something we did well in this budget is, staying at 10-10, but also being able to do that spot increase outside of their contract to public safety. So I think that was a good compromise we all came to, and was kind of the last big decision on it, but I'm glad we did it.
I think also, with the Burlington facing with their shortage right now, then us truly have not been able to replace me since I retired. Sometimes you have to look at outside the scope, maybe a little bit of working with the other departments and seeing, like school resource officers. I remember one time that the county used to be the DARE instructor out here. Sergeant Parker, I believe, was the first one that ever did the DARE. Maybe something exploring, maybe working with the other agencies. I don't know, talk to Chief Logan about it.
the next meeting will include both chiefs,
Okay.
yes. But Jesse's aware of it, obviously. So. But, yeah, I mean, we're just looking at alternatives until, I mean, neither department's at full staffing. There could be a future COPS grant, but you still got to have a body in order to apply for a COPS grant, so, going forward. So we're trying to find solutions, and, again, that also comes down, is there ability for the school districts to share an individual, or an additional individual over and above what they have? And could that be a retired public safety officer? Absolutely. So they've got some options, and we'll continue to talk. There's another retirement coming up that we're aware of, and there's another option there. So they have a few folks they can talk to, and then we'll continue those discussions. So, but.
Also, you commented with the employees working hard. I talked to Brad, and this is a continuing thing all the time. The city employees are always trying to save money, and sometimes, like what Brad did just recently for the additional there on the electronics, because of his expertise and how to put things together, and you save how much money would it
Well, I
cost?
wanted 15,000 to equip the room with the equipment, so I basically used one that's meant for a bus and program the logic, so it works with a switch and then kicks the lights on. And so it pretty much does what we need to do. What was it? We paid 3,000 to equip both rooms, and 15,000 was for one room, so.
It's just working outside the box and thinking, that we're fortunate to have employees like that, because in the interview room itself, they took a table, right, and then you had Nathan, who did a very professional job of cutting the table and down to size to be used in there, in that room, where if we would have paid a carpenter to do that, it would have been a lot more money than what Nathan, himself did. A Sergeant Dunham.
We're happy to let you in the room. Whether or not you can get out will be interesting.
Let's send John.
Yeah.
If you'd like a tour, John, afterwards, I'm happy to take you.
I'll go with you, John. I'd love to see it.
But,
Take my phone.
yes, it's a good budget. It's a challenge. There's compromises throughout. I appreciate everybody's hard work and in putting it together. But we start in November, and it's April 23rd. We start the first week in November every year. So it's not a simple process. It's a lengthy process that we go through. But I think it's a good one, so.
Well, Greg, what I appreciate is I think it's the whole city staff's team. It's their budget. They get it. The people who are, making the decision to spend the money, the Chases, the Brad, the Angie sees where it goes. I appreciate that it's everybody has input on building the budget, we as this council. And I'm glad you don't sit in a room, try and figure it all out and shove it down our necks. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. That's all I have.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I'll just echo the same sentiments, because I know that all the department heads start in November, and by the time it comes to us, I think they've removed the fluff that we're looking for, and pretty much what's there is there, and it's up to us to decide if we want it or not. I debated on the Tahoe, but if I get to drive it, I'm okay with it. And I think probably providing that increase for our officers to let them know that we truly care about them and we want to keep them was probably helpful, so we don't lose any more officers.
I guess I will say a couple things. The budget we went through, and there was a lot of discussions on several different things. The officers, we went through, I was not really for giving a raise during a contract, in the middle of the contract. You could look at that two ways, and by breaking the contract or by giving them something to let them know that we appreciate them. So, I think we went the way that should show them appreciation, and I believe that they they will remember that when it comes to negotiating time, I hope, with the next contract. With that also said, you know, the water raise that you're going to see in your bill is mainly due because of the Burlington rate that it went up. There's going to be a little bit in the sewer because we got to get that fund balance, but just remember also that our insurance went up 26%. When the insurance goes up 26% for the whole city, that's a huge chunk that we had to come up with somewhere, somehow, and during this budget, we managed to do that. And that came along with only a 1.2 tax increase on our evaluation. So there was a lot of good work done on the budget. With that said, also, you know, we with some negotiating with the mall, we ended up getting the mall ring road this year, and with that, we will be overlaying that part when the housing is done, and I hope we do just an overlay and get to a point where we can do something more serious later on.
That first corner where we get to the turn, that's the worst part. We're trying to find a cheap fix. It was roughly $30,000 to $40,000. Talking to a different contractor with some good ideas, because you're looking at, if you do when you do full depth patch and a 3-inch overlay on the entire stretch, you know, you're looking at $500,000-$600,000. And then if you look at doing concrete replacement, as are on both of the other roads, then that cost will just go up exponentially. So
I believe a lot of people in the city believes that the ring road on the mall was our property anyway, and it wasn't. You know, we only had the small section on the backside that was the city, so now it's the whole thing. And that came with some good negotiating and talking to the mall. And but that said, also, you know, we have a trail that's $1.5 million that we just completed this year, and is a huge investment that the city did. We're on our way to
$1 million in grants.
We're on our way to get the agency trail, and both of them will be with, a lot of that will be paid with grant. And I say that because I bring up the grants because without the grants, we couldn't have done what we've done. You know, we couldn't have got that built. And so we have somebody leading us in getting those grants that is making some of these projects happen. So with that said, thank you all.
All right, moving on to new business then. We have item number 1 is to consider a resolution adopting the city's budget for fiscal year 2025-2026.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Young,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees.
Aye. Motion carried. Item number 2 is to consider entering into a contract with artist Ali Habal to enter into a contract to paint a mural at City Hall for $3,500.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Support. Any comments, concerns? Do you have anything to add, Greg?
If you haven't seen it, and it's nearly complete, and they'll be working Friday and Saturday again. Alec will be in town. I encourage you to go check it out. It's directly on the brick. It looks awesome. And it looks different than the pictures you saw. If you look at it in person, she did excellent work down there. So I'm excited to get one out here, whether it's 8 by 8 square or if it's WB, and with her designs on here, we'll bring those concepts forward. We did get the $2,000 grant to help pay for that as well, plus the paint grant that we received. So
What's your current best guess on timing? When are we thinking? Just in general.
There won't be, the May 8th deadline is gone, so I believe she has one other project, and then she would get to ours, but I'll clarify that with her.
Thinking like June or?
Completion, I'm hoping by June, yeah, but I will confirm that, yeah.
Okay.
That location of her current work is at about 301 Jefferson Street in downtown Burlington, and it's alley in the alley. It's in the alley, next to that building, next to, same place where Burlington by the book is, and,
Looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Saw it yesterday when I was downtown.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3 is to consider a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for the Iowa Transportation Alternatives Set-Aside Program, or TAP program, for the construction of the Agency Road Trail.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Thank you, God. Thank you. Any other questions or concerns or comments?
It's about time.
Amen. All right, roll call, please.
Crowner,
No.
Johnson,
Aye.
Thies,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Motion carried. We don't have any citizens' inquiries. Anybody else have anything else to? Oh, motion to adjourn then, let's do it.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support, all those